Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge and welcome to my April stats and favorites. So if you are new within this month, I don't do a full wrap up of every book that I've read for my wrap up because I actually do weekly wrap ups. I will link the playlist that has all of my weekly wrap ups because I read an average of, 15 to 20 books per week. So to wrap up, as you will see, quite a substantial amount of books in one of these videos is a bit unreasonable. So I actually do weekly wrap-ups. So what I do in these videos is I go over my monthly stats. We don't spend too much time in that. We'll dive in. And then I actually have my top 5 books. And this month we have 6-star reads again. I actually didn't have any 6-star reads last month. I don't know what my mood was because I definitely read great books last month. I had lots of 5-star books. I think I actually only had one 6-star because I just wasn't feeling it. You know, it happens. Sometimes you're not there. But this month was filled with a lot. We'll get to it. So let's go through my stats real quick. So I read or looked at, we'll say, because I'll say it, 69 books in April. Yes, that is 3+ books a day if you want to do the math right there. That is a total of 22,149 pages. And that averages out to 738 pages per day was my average. Wow. I read these books in the following formats. I read 24 print books, 37 ebooks, 39 audiobooks, and 4 of those were e-arcs. So the way that I do the stats for that, they kind of overlap, but I just like to say like the form that the book was in, basically. These books were in the following genres. I read 19 contemporary, 11 dark romance, 23 historical romance, 2 dystopian romance, 2 paranormal romance, 6 sci-fi romance, 1 romantic suspense, and 3 fantasy romance. And the ratings that I gave these books were, I had 2 DNFs, so that's what I meant is that I looked at 69. I had 3 6 stars, 12 5 stars, 13 4.5 stars, 24 4 stars, 6 3.5 stars, and 7 3 stars. So you can tell this was a very highly rated month. I'm not afraid to rate books low, although I usually do a DNF. I'm just very good at picking books that I will like. And those of you who choose books to read based on my recommendations, you'll know I have a pretty high quality for how I feel. A couple of trends this month. I definitely did burn through a couple series. So you will notice, 2 of my favorite books of the month were by the same author and I just couldn't help it. I read 11 books in the Maiden Lane series this month and the lowest I rated one of those. Well, I did have one of them that was a 3-star, but in general they were 4-star or higher the whole way through. So it was really fun. But let's go through my top 5 favorites. So the first 3 of these are my 6-star reads. And then 2, it was hard to choose out of my 5 stars which ones would be the other 2. Especially because, like I said, most of them were Maiden Lane. And so I was like, okay, pick of the 5 stars that aren't Maiden Lane. So that's what I did. But anyway, the first book, which I did read at the very beginning of the month. I read this book as part of a video that I did. So I will link that above. I did a reading blog where I read books that were favorites of my book bestie, Crystal. And so one of the books that I gave 6 stars to was Still by Kennedy Ryan. This is the 3rd and final book in the Grip trilogy by Kennedy Ryan. I would really consider it it's a duology that has a prequel that you should start with. The prequel's only 100 pages and it is their first meeting of each other. But in this book, which is, the finale of this, oh my gosh, I fully understand why everyone loves it so much. Even though the journey to get here was hard and painful, and there is pain within this book, the thing that's beautiful is that this couple, they're together for this whole book, and the troubles that they go through, they are each other's best friend. and the way that they are there for each other first, the way that they consciously put that other person first, the way that there aren't misunderstandings happening anymore and there aren't other people getting in the way. It is them taking on the world together. This is something I've pointed out in videos before. There are different kinds of conflict that a writer can put into a book, and that's perfectly valid. Whatever, you know, conflict that they choose is fine. But personally, I like, specifically with a couple, I really like external conflict, because like, each character is going to have internal conflict and things that they're dealing with. But when that internal conflict is the thing keeping a couple apart, I tend to not have a lot of patience for it. It is not my favorite thing to read at all. When it goes on too long or the angst is prolonged too far. I like when there are outside things conspiring against them. Grip and Bristol are an interracial couple. Grip is a Black African-American rapper, and Bristol is his manager, and or like was his manager, is now. Things, they're going through ups and downs through this series. But Grip has wanted Bristol for a long time, and we're finally at a place where they're here, they're together. But that doesn't mean that the world wants them together. It doesn't mean that some people that they even love and respect want them together for reasons of for reasons of racism and culture differences and things that are hard to understand. And I feel like something that Kennedy Ryan does really good, and something that is really beautiful about their relationship, is that, and it's something that I feel like we are not doing in our culture right now in the state of the world, and that's assuming someone is coming from a place of kindness or a place of, you know, assuming the best out of a person and not assuming that they're trying to be disrespectful or hurtful with the things that they do. And that doesn't mean that doesn't happen, and that doesn't mean we shouldn't call it out when it happens, but to see it within this relationship where there are times where Bristol messed up and she says the wrong thing or she's not thinking it through. And Grip is so patient because he loves her, and he knows that that thing that came out of her mouth that was disrespectful, she didn't mean it to cut. She didn't mean it to come out as being cruel. And so when he loves her, he has the patience to be like, hey babe, that was wrong, and this is why it's wrong, and maybe don't say that again. Please don't say that again, because that wouldn't be as acceptable if it was said by around anyone but me. And I feel like that is done in such an amazing way in this book. Like, it's really just, there's so much more to it than that. I mean, this couple, there is trigger warnings for loss of a child, and it is brutal. It is freaking brutal. This book also has a love scene in it where a particular act is done. And I'm smiling because I'm not meaning this as like I'm talking about a specific act that's being done that's a consensual act between this couple who loves each other, that I have never cheered so hard when this particular act happens ever, because it was so emotional when it was happening and what it meant between them, that when this physical act is happening, I was literally like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Like, I literally teared up when this one particular sex act happened. So I don't know what was happening, but Kennedy Ryan made it happen for me. So yeah, this is worth all the hype. This is an angst-filled story, but these two are so beautiful. And they're just they're so great. And Kennedy Ryan definitely does reward you for the pain that you live through, in my opinion. Then, okay, like I said, I had 2 books by Elizabeth Hoyt that made it into my 6 stars because I just couldn't help myself. And so the first one is A Thief of Shadows. This one does not have a step back. It is the only maiden lane that I have not been able to find the step back for this yet. I will find it. It will happen. But this is book 4, okay? Now, here's the thing, because everybody asked me, and I've been getting a little bit salty, and I don't mean to be salty, but I just mean to be honest. So let this be the official answer, even though I know I'll have to answer it a bunch more times. It's okay. It's cool. I personally believe that this book would not be so powerful if you hadn't read the books before it. Like, if you didn't read it in order. The Maiden Lane books are kind of in these, like, 3 chunks of 4, where there's like a particular like storyline that's happening. And this one is kind of the first like wrap up of like a story thing that's happening. And then the next 4 books are a different kind of thing. And then, anyway, it's weird. If you've read it, you know what I mean. But this book is about Winter Makepeace. He is a bachelor who is kind of the caretaker and like one of the teachers at this school for wayward and abandoned children. And his school / like this children's home is supported by this group of ladies who have it as a like charity thing. And this is something that got set up in the first book. And this council of women have decided that Winter isn't the best person to be the representative anymore. And he's pretty annoyed about that. So they decide to assign him Lady Isabel Backenhall, who is a widow, to be his like guide and to kind of, it's kind of like reverse Pygmalion him, okay? Like make him more easily palpable, make him look a little better, and just make him represent this home in a better way than he is. This book has so many amazing things in it. There are so many things going under the surface that all culminate in this book. There's trigger warnings for infertility in this one. Oh my word, this one gutted me. It's not funny, but it is like funny to me that books that I have trigger warnings for, like my personal trigger warning, because infertility, child loss, abortion, miscarriage, all those are like trigger warnings for me. And 2 of my favorite books this month like have those things in them. But to me, like when they're done the right way and used in the right manner, that's when it's so powerful to me. And so this story between Isabel and Winter, who is a virgin hero, he is a stern brunch daddy, he is a bit dominant, and he's Batman. I just said it. He's Batman. It's a thing. So yeah, this is a freaking amazing book. And I'm going to talk about another Maiden Lane, but I'm also going to say that there is going to be a live show next Saturday, the 8th, that will have Neverland Pixie from Instagram, Crystal from Crystal's Bookish Life, and Jessin from Jessin Reads Romance, and myself, and we're going to talk about Maiden Lane together. It's going to happen. We're going to talk about our favorites and everything, and I highly, highly think that this book will be in the top for most of us. So then my last 6-star is Dearest Rogue by Elizabeth Hoyt. This one I got the step back for. This is book 9 in the series, and this one is about Lady Phoebe Batten, who is also a member of the council that I mentioned. We get to start seeing her pretty early on when she's quite young. She's still pretty young. She's like 21 or 22 in this one, and she has been going blind. So she is now pretty much fully blind, and her brother wants her to have a bodyguard at all time. If she wants to go anywhere, if she wants to do anything, she needs to have a bodyguard, which isn't unreasonable because her brother also has a lot of enemies who would like to use her against him, particularly one enemy who is annoying to me. And so Captain James Trevelyan, who used to be in service of the king, he now has been injured. He's also someone who was always trying to chase down the ghost of St. Giles. He was injured and he walks with a limp and uses a cane. So this is a book that has 2 disabled MCs, which is awesome. Like, honestly, it's so beautiful, this book. This is also an age gap. This is definitely a grumpy sunshine. Phoebe is this beautiful heiress who's so full of life. She's also plus size. It's definitely got a little more cushion to the pushing. I don't know how you say that. Push the cushion. I don't know how it goes. Whatever. She's just absolutely delightful. Like, really. And I honestly think, like, I feel like this cover, I feel like it is kind of representative. Like, it's not the tiniest waist ever. I didn't really, like, check it out too closely. but that's kind of nice. I mean, it doesn't really look like it when you open it up, but anyway, whatever. So there are different attacks happening against her to try to get to her brother, to try to use her against her brother, and James Trevelyan is protecting her. And they have a beautiful romance in this book. James, of course, there are many, many reasons why he shouldn't be with Phoebe, but the thing is, Phoebe doesn't give a flying fuck about any of them. And I really love it because he's still like, you know, she definitely pushes him, and she definitely is like, you deserve to be happy, I deserve to be happy. If you're the one who's supposed to make me happy, let's make it happen. And something I really love about James is that it takes him a while to come to the realization that that's true, but he also isn't someone who's gonna white fang her. And if you've been around my channel, you like know what that means. That's someone who would leave someone for their own good because they think they'll be better off without them. That's never true. That's never true. And I really, really like how it plays out so much. Then this month I read pretty much entirely this series. And this one, so those were my 6-star reads. These other two I'm going to talk about were 5-star reads. I read this entire series in April, and I love it so much. I love it so much. Each one was so unique and different and was fantastic. And so I picked my favorite one of this year. Honestly, they were both so good. They were all so good. But this one I picked as my favorite, and that is Broken Bow by Sophie Lark. This is book 5 in the series. And yes, this is a series you have to read in order. It's okay. They're all great. I'm just telling you my favorite of them all. This one is about Riona Griffin, who is a lawyer. She is tough. She is the ice queen. This is actually a Grumpy Sunshine reverse, because she's definitely the grumpy one, and our hero is definitely the sunshine one. And that is going to be Rylan. And he is ex-military. He's friends to, it's not her brother, but there's these two families that like married into each other. And so they're all kind of like siblings to each other in a way. But anyway, it's an ex-soldier, and he gets called to be her bodyguard. So this is a bodyguard romance. There's someone trying to take her out. They are getting closer every time. And it comes to a boiling point where they get very close to death. Like, whew. I mean, I knew that we were going to be okay, but I was like, Sophie, you got me on the edge of my feet. Like it was, or on the edge of my seat, the edge of my feet, whatever. It was definitely very anxious inducing. And so he ends up, Rylan is from Tennessee. He's from a ranch in Tennessee. He's a cowboy. It's all these great things. Like he's a cowboy, he's ex-military, it's a bodyguard romance. And so he takes her home to the ranch because he's like, no assassin in Chicago is going to come to the Tennessee ranch where we all got our guns and we got the barbed wire and we got the horses, and it's great. And it was fucking amazing. And what's even more amazing is their dynamic, because this isn't, I wouldn't call them full-on enemies to lovers. She's, you know, she doesn't hate him. She just thinks he's kind of like, I don't know. It's hard to say how she feels. Riona is very closed off. Like I said, she has a lot of expectations on her. She's a very smart woman. She's a ball-busting woman. And so it's not easy to get close to her. But when we're in this forced proximity situation with Rylan, it's impossible not to love this man, because look at him. And so I just loved it so much. Oh my gosh, I love this series. It makes me so happy. And this one is tied, I mean, it's tied with Stolen Air. I really like Stolen Air, but I feel like I've talked about Stolen Air more than I've talked about Broken Bow. And I just, Rylan, I love him so much. I love him. So the last one I want to talk about is definitely a bit of a lighter one, and that is Royally Matched by Emma Chase. So I read the first 3 books in this series. I guess there's actually like a prequel, and there's some like novellas that go with it, but I read the main like 3 books in this series. And so Royally Matched is the second one, and it's about Henry, who is the youngest brother, and he is just really kind of rebelling against what his role is right now. And so he gets like solicited to be on a dating show. So it's like The Bachelor, but like the royal version. And he ends up having a lot of chemistry with the sister of one of the contestants. So, and this girl, she's very shy, and she would prefer to be in the library, and they just have this like amazing connection. And he's really doing this show just for like something to do. He's very bored prince, and he's been getting into a lot of trouble, and so he gets sent to this country estate, and he's like, well, while I'm here, I might as well have some fun. And so this happens. And so the closer him and Sarah get together is so beautiful. She has anxiety and some PTSD from something that happened to her as a kid. I mean, trigger warning, there is talk of parental abuse in here, so just have to share that. And yeah, this book was just so sweet. Like, there was potential for there to be lots of angst to this book, but there just really like isn't. Like, it's hard to explain too, because yeah, he's like on this dating show like with the other people, but nothing's really like happening with them. Like, they're definitely doing things for TV, and Sarah is like pretty aware of that. So you'd have to kind of see how it plays out. But this was a 5-star read for me, and I really liked it. I really liked this series. If you love royal romances, this is a great series to pick up. The first one really kind of reminded me of like William and Kate. Kind of. I mean, I feel like people say that about a lot of like royal romances, but that one kind of did the most, except it was like, it's an American and a prince. I don't know, maybe it didn't. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. Everyone likes to compare it to that. It's their 10-year anniversary. Isn't that cute? That's random. Okay, this video took a weird turn. But anyway, I gave this book 5 stars. Really liked it. So those are my favorite reads for the month of April. And those are my stats. Let's see what we can do in May, which is exciting. I can't believe the spring is continuing. I don't know. I'm rambling now. Time to shut this down. So thank you so much for watching this video. I put up new videos 3 to 4 times a week. Make sure you're subscribed and click the bell icon so you can get notified when I upload. And yeah, this was really great. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.